It's Thursday. Welcome to the future. My name is Graham Codrington. This is ThrowForward Thursday, where every week we jump into the future, find out what's going on there, and see if it means anything for us today. Thank you for joining me, as always. At the moment, we are taking a break from our normal future scenarios on Thursdays, and I am giving you little snippets of some work I'm doing with my colleague Buhle Dlamini. We have put together a new podcast called the TomorrowToday Podcast, and we are mapping the future of business. This is what our team does at Tomorrow Today. We look at the characteristics of organizations that are ready to anticipate the future and prepared for whatever might happen today. Yeah, I know, that was a little bit of a marketing tagline. You could hear it in the way that I said that. But genuinely, we work with companies to help them to make sure that whatever happens in the future, they're ready for it. And there are key characteristics of organizations that are set up to do this. And there are some buzzwords associated with this. These organizations are bionic, they are anti-fragile, they're a force for good, and so on. And in the Tomorrow Today podcast, we go into detail about what each of those means, why they're important, and how you develop them. At the moment, we are already on episode 3. So there are a number of back episodes that you can go and have a look at. Have a look at the show notes of this podcast or this video, wherever you're listening or watching to it. I'll give you a link. The link is actually at the TomorrowToday.com website, so tomorrowtodayglobal.com/podcast. And then you'll get links to whatever platform you use, or just search for the Tomorrow Today podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Right, so let's get to a snippet. This week, I want to share with you a part of the conversation I had with Tamryn Batcheller-Adams. Tamryn is an associate of our team. She's a psychologist who works in private practice, but also consults to senior executive teams around their personal development, especially issues to do with stress and burnout. She works on team dynamics, especially with senior executive teams, and brings her psychology practice to bear in that space. And she has written a book called Mavericks, How Bold Leadership Changes the World. And she wrote it amazingly with two absolutely legendary London Business School professors. And I'll just give you a little snippet of our conversation where she talks about what these maverick leaders actually do and why they're important. If you want to listen to the whole conversation and find out more about her book, Mavericks, please make sure that you like and subscribe and sign up for the Tomorrow Today podcast. But here's my conversation with Tamryn.
The idea behind maverick leaders are that they are people who are resourceful, they are undeterred, they are non-conformist, they are experimental, and all four of those characteristics rest on this bedrock of belief, internal belief, and a belief that the world can be different and that they have a contribution to make in order to let it be so.
In the book, I loved the idea that it was purposeful belief. So it isn't just this vague belief, yes, we can, kind of rah-rah kind of belief that you often, you see it in the movies, and you often think that that's what makes a good leader, that sort of vision, mission, value belief. But it was a deep belief that if we did let's do those things again. It was resourceful, non-conformist, because you're trying to change a system, experimental, because you can't imagine it in advance. You've got to try things and try and succeed and fail sometimes, and then undeterred. And all of those line up to say we can change this system. And that's really the belief, you saying that we can build a better world, a better system.
Yeah. I think for me, that was one of the kind of surprise findings, actually, that we didn't expect to unpack in this process, which is that people who we consider to be maverick leaders and people who met this kind of prototype of a leadership philosophy, for them, the professional was personal and the personal was professional. And I think a lot of the time we try and separate those two things out for good reasons. We need boundaries. We don't want things to be blurred. We don't want high levels of burnout, etc. But there was something intricately linked between what they believed about themselves, their own personal values, and how that kind of fueled the work that they were doing. So this concept of the professional being personal and vice versa, I think, is quite a powerful one in giving them the kind of internal grit and resilience to sustain the change that they needed to sustain despite the resistance that they met. And I think an important differential here is that maverick leaders are rebels with a cause. They are emotionally intelligent. They know how to move things forward, but they do it in a way that is not narcissistic and is not destructive. They do it in a way that is for the collective good. So I think an important takeout here is that when you're thinking about how do you grow maverick leaders in your team for the betterment of your team or organization, hold in mind that you are developing people to be disruptors, but not to be destructive. And I think the book helps to make that differentiation quite clear, which is an important one going forward, especially for HR.
Finding the right people in the future in this connection economy probably means rethinking the type of people that we want. Maverick, make sure you get a copy of it. I'm sure you'll find it valuable, insightful, and part of your journey as a leader in moving into this new connection economy. Tamryn, thank you very much.
Thanks, Graham.